Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us for today's webinar looking at our Business Management Graduate Apprenticeships Programme. The webinar is being hosted by David Steinberg, who's Director of our EBS Graduate Apprenticeships Programmes. Now, before I hand over to David, I'll just cover off some quick housekeeping. You'll have seen in the slide there that the webinar today is being recorded. To maintain as good call quality as possible, we'd appreciate it if you could, during the presentation, mute your mics and also switch off your cameras. Now, at the end of the presentation, you'll have the opportunity to ask David questions either directly or via the chat function. So please make sure to use that if you so wish. So listen, without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to David for today's presentation. Thank you, David.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. As you can tell from my accent, I probably didn't grow up in Cockenzie. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. I moved my family from Melrose, Massachusetts to Scotland to settle 4 years ago. Best move I've ever made in my life. Best move. Let's begin the webinar today. The picture on the left, that's the original group of students in my first GA course that I taught in 2017. And many of them are going to be graduating this year, which is quite exciting. You'll notice that I'm slightly tilted to the right, and that's because I had 3 seconds to get back from the camera to the group without knocking anybody over. There's a particular person to my right named Sapta Das. She's the lady to the right in the foreground, and she now is on the right side there. That she became the skills development, one of the Skills Development Scotland's ambassadors for GA programs, and also for our university for the GA programs. So, you know, I'm very proud of this group and very proud of being part of the GA program and actually leading the Edinburgh Business School programs. It's a really great group of students. So today, what we're going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit about the Edinburgh Business School. I'm going to talk about the Edinburgh Business School GA faculty, the graduate apprentice, the program structure, successful GA candidate, some of the things to look for, what I call the triangular partnership involving the individual learning agreement. We'll talk about GA support, and then we'll have that Q&A that we talked about. So first, the Edinburgh Business School. What few people realize is that we're Scotland's largest business school, and we're now a top 30 UK business school, according to the Complete University Guide 2021. We have a huge number of students from around the world. And what I'm really excited about, particularly in this context of the pandemic, is that we've got expertise already there, able to migrate traditional brick and mortar courses online as needed during the pandemic. That's a very key element to the delivery, particularly semester 1 and probably into semester 2 of next year. Also, our mission, of course, is to create tomorrow's leaders. And I think of the most important piece here is the 19 startup companies in our business incubator. A business school should have a business incubator embedded in it. And in 2018, our incubator opened. Callum Russell, who's the coordinator, who also happens to be the CEO of Acorn Enterprises, runs the incubator. It started with 9 companies back in 2018. It now has 19 companies. And we have companies like Inventipod, Workspace Products, a company called Hindsight Vision for cyclist safety. There's an ERP, a resource planning company called ERP2. And there's even a charity there called A Place in Childhood. And I think that it really creates a good combination. Students can see the businesses working. We can feed on each other. We can feed with each other, and it becomes a great place to get together and to share practice in a live environment, along with the academic setting as well. So that's the Edinburgh Business School. We've got 3 programs that we offer for the GA programs: the IT Management for Business, the Business Management program that we're talking about today, and the Business Management Financial Services as well. So 3 MA Hons programs. Our faculty, we couldn't go without speaking about our faculty, because really what distinguishes one GA program from the other is not the glossy brochures, it's not the buildings, it's your faculty. And the courses can have the same names, but they are taught in very different ways because it's the individual that delivers this. And so the faculty, so we have 21 faculty members from around the world. They have extensive ties. They've been chosen because they have extensive ties to business and industry. Many have international work experience, in fact, and they infuse this experience into their courses. We have a couple that are entrepreneurs and consultants. I'm one of them. I also deliver workshops for the Institute of Directors, Scotland, and elsewhere. And they're really chosen for their ability to teach at an executive ed level. Our students, our GA students, minus the degree, are really executive ed students. And so they have to be taught by those who understand that kind of mentality, which is I have limited time and I have a lot I want to learn and I want to apply it immediately to my workplace. And so we choose our faculty very carefully, and it's working out very well. The ABS Graduate Apprentice. Okay, so for those of you that are new to this concept of graduate apprenticeships, these are students that work full-time. They work for the private, the public, and the third sector organizations throughout Scotland. They're on campus 1 day per week. It's called the release day. Usually each class 4 hours of face-to-face time for 4 weeks. It's kind of in blocks like that. It's 3 semesters, 3 full semesters across 42 weeks, and the students get the breaks, the Christmas, the Easter, and summer break as well. But they are busy, and that's the way it needs to be. Let's talk a little bit about the program structure for business management. So the key piece is that you've probably noticed this 80-20 kind of split. And this is key to a GA program. 80% of the work is done in the workplace. 20% of that work is done in the classroom. If it wasn't this way, the course and the program would not be a GA program. It would be a terrestrial or brick and mortar or traditional undergraduate program. The 4 years, that's its duration of 4 years, and it's open to anyone 16 years or older, as long as they are hired by someone who is a client, someone who is paying into the fund, the GA fund, the Graduate Apprenticeship Fund, and resides at the company resides in Scotland. So let's take a look at the program structure. So this is the first year. All courses are mandatory at this time. In the first year, fundamentally introductory courses from economics, finance, management, and in my business skills course in semester 2, for example, they'll be taught the very same advanced questioning skills that I teach at IOD elsewhere. Design thinking, they'll learn how to apply that. The IT systems for business will give them that perspective. And then in semester 3, the management project is their first taste of a project of scope that requires them to apply it to their workplace. And that really sets them on course at that point to begin to think about their year 4 capstone project. That's the first big project they do. In year 2, fundamentals of marketing, a great course taught by an expert on this, intercultural issues. You couldn't have a business management course without intercultural. We've got a couple of behavioral courses and organizational and human behavior, a commercial law course, accounting, of course, ops management, and then the first of 3, as you'll see in semester 3, will be called professional reviews. And that's when they update, and we'll talk more about this in a second, their individual learning agreement and some other things in order to kind of demonstrate their how they've applied what they've learned to their workplace. In year 3, I call it the management suite. That's when they take strategic, innovation, and project management. They take logistics and supply chain, which is a new course that we've added, which is really, really good, taught by someone that's in my faculty and program group, Claire Lindsay, and they love this course. And it could never be a better time to be talking about supply chains and logistics with what we're currently facing in the greater world. Introduction to research methods, that's key because they're going to be learning how to approach their capstone project in year 4, and they will develop a proposal, a preliminary proposal for their project to get them thinking about it at this stage. The business consultancy project is remarkable. It's a 3-term project that allows them to think about their organization as a consultant would, to apply all kinds of techniques to that. And then, of course, there's that professional review in semester 3. Again, the same thing, updating the individual learning agreement and demonstrating what they've applied and what they've learned and applied in their workplace. And of course, in year 4, and I'm excited to say that we have our first cohort who are about to graduate this year in year 4. We our first group, and they'll be taking international business, a very wide global context. They'll be looking at managing business performance. The material comes and is taught by one of the leading experts in that area. Digital marketing picks up where intro to marketing left off. You see the final professional review in semester 3, but that big project, that 60 credit project, is the capstone project that they will be doing over the course of 3 semesters. We build it so that the students can incrementally complete the project. So lit review, for example, in semester 1 due, in semester 2, methods section, and the beginning of gathering of data. And then by the time they get to semester 3, it's all about the write-up phase. And we have Q&A sessions and all kinds of things built into that to make it, it's a rigorous project, but it's designed to go through incrementally. And we're very excited about the 4th year. That's what the picture looks like in terms of all 4. You probably have this snapshot also in the supplement that the Graduate Apprentice Office at Heriot-Watt has provided you. And we can delve into that if you wish in the Q&A. Okay, so what does the successful GA candidate look like at Heriot-Watt? Well, the successful GA candidate understands the rigorous nature of the undertaking. There's no doubt about it, it's rigorous. I select every one of these candidates, and we look carefully at their academic capacity, and we look at their work experience, and we make sure that they have the equipment, if you will, to make the climb. And for those that need some supplemental help, some support, we provide that as well. Typically, I look for some maths and critical writing skills at the Scottish Highers level or equivalent, so that they can hit the ground running. Again, we'll provide some support along the way if that's slightly lacking. And I also look for that equivalent in paid work if I don't see it on the academic side, and often GAs, of course, don't. They left school a while ago. I want them to have articulated a compelling rationale for pursuing the degree. So I scrutinize the CVs. The business relationship managers will tell you from the GA office that I'm a stickler for making sure that we've got someone that wants to do this, and so that statement is really important to me and to the organization. And the GA student, the successful student, approaches the program as a marathon, not a sprint, and that's really key. It's just it's 4 solid years, and pacing is important. And of course, they need to be resilient. And you know, with the current pandemic, resilience means a lot more as they have changed their work environments dramatically. Some have been furloughed, etc. And we have accommodated that. And Skills Development Scotland is appreciative of the way we have continued the programs. And I'm very proud of everybody for having moved through. And I think it's made us even better, actually. Better teachers and better administrators. So I'm good with that. The triangular partnership I mentioned. So this is one of the key pages from the individual learning agreement. This is the bedrock. This is the foundational piece that the GAs have, and this is important that they begin their journey and each year update their incremental journey by talking about their short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals, and how their workplace and how the courses they're about to take will help them attain those goals. So this is a triangular relationship between student, between work mentor, and between the Heriot-Watt tutor. And this is the kind of support that the student will have at a minimum throughout their 4 years. The work mentor, which we'll talk about in a moment, and the Heriot-Watt tutor as well. There are important elements to this. Everyone plays a part in this in the GA's journey. So for example, the mentor role. This is an individual that will co-develop annual learning goals with the student, typically at the start of the term. They provide pastoral care in the workplace. I can't overemphasize the importance of having that constant those touch points, watching and seeing whether the student is changing in any way, whether they seem to be overburdened, if there's something that's happening, we need to deal with it. Early intervention, as with any student, is critical. So the pastoral care for the mentor is important. We ask that the mentor and the student and the tutor defend the release day. That's that 1 day a week that they come. It's so easy, particularly in this time frame, for that 1 day a week to suddenly slip away because something is happening at work. It's really critical that the mentor does the blocking and tackling to make sure that that release day is defended. They'll be attending quarterly meetings with the Heriot-Watt tutor and student. These will be all virtual. So no need to, typically we love to have the first visit each year to be at workplace, but with the proscriptions associated with some of the students coming to campus this semester in particular, we're going to stick with virtual, and I think it's all safe and it's very effective. I do 2 or 3 a day with my tutees and meet with their mentors, and it's perfectly fine. And then of course the mentor, a key piece to this is matching assignments with work-based projects. So what does that mean? Well, we have what is known as the Graduate Apprentice Hub, which is our, let's call it our website, our home, and for the GAs. And on it, we place our handbooks. These are the course handbooks. Inside the course handbooks, you have the assessments. These are available at the start of every term. And what happens is, and we even provide the handbooks and also a summary of the assessments. And what we ask the mentor to do is to sit down with the student and start to plan out and match the coursework with the work that's taking place in the workplace. That's a critical move. And then you can also deal with any, at that stage, you can deal with any spikes that you see in work activity, as in paid work activity, and begin to plan accordingly. The key to this is all about the planning. And that's key to this. A lack of surprise, transparency, predictability are the key words associated with great GA programs. And then the other piece is making sure that the doors are opened in the organization by the mentor as it relates to coursework. So if the coursework's associated with a commercial law project, perhaps the legal office can be the mentor can introduce the GA to the legal office. If there's something to do with marketing, perhaps there's a marketing individual that can be introduced, and so on and so forth. That's another key role that the mentor plays. And if you're not the largest organization in the world, and often we have clients that aren't multi-million-pound organizations, it's perfectly fine. If you have satellite organizations or outsourced or entities associated with your business, they can provide the kind of guidance associated with that particular assessment. For example, if you outsource marketing, if you got an agency, perhaps you can introduce your GA student to the marketing agency so they can see what marketing looks like outside the classroom, that kind of thing. So those are the key elements of what we look for in a great mentor. And the business relationship manager and I are happy to help select the individual, talk through find the right person with you in your organization. If you need that kind of guidance, happy to provide. Here's an example of what we mean by matching coursework. So for my course, the business skills for the second machine age, if the assignment is a design thinking essay following the Stanford D.Dot school process, the 5-step process, the value is 50% of the final mark. And what I'm asking is that the student defines the 5 school phases and applies them to solve all or part of a work-based problem. And then they submit the essay. So what's the problem? That's up to the mentor and the student to decide. In fact, what you'll find, particularly as you've gone through to year 3 and you get into the advanced suite of management courses, is that we're constantly looking for ways to solve problems. The students will be running back to the organization to apply what they've learned as quick as possible. And what I've been hearing, and it warms my heart, I must say this, from mentors over the last few weeks, is how much change they've seen in their GA student and what they've done for their organization on a year-by-year basis. No one can ask for more than that. There's not much more you can say. If that's what's happening, then everyone is winning in the GA program. So that's the typical example of matching coursework with something happening in the workplace. Okay. Now the tutor, this is the GA tutor at Heriot-Watt. This is the academic tutor, has his or her own role to play. And that's helping to match the student's goals on that ILA as well. Although the mentor does a little more of that because the mentor knows a little bit more about the workplace than the tutor, but they have some say in that as well. The tutor matches the student's scholarship needs with university resources. That's very important. So if a student says, I think I'd like to learn a little more about how to reference, to academically reference material, the tutor will point that person in the right direction for that. They certainly provide pastoral care, and I really like it when the mentor and the tutor are communicating on a regular basis about the student, a quick touch points every semester to say things are going well, or perhaps things are not going well. Look, life can intervene. It often does. And sometimes it's something that can be talked through, and sometimes it can't. And it requires a little more care and support, and that's fine. But that pastoral care is key. And then, of course, the tutor attends those quarterly meetings with the mentor and the student, which again will be fully online. Okay, so what kind of support are we talking about here? We're talking about a variety of scholarship support and other support. Lectures and tutorials, of course, are support elements for their learning. Formative and summative assessments, formative usually at the midterm to give the student a sense of whether they're doing okay, summative being the kind of concluding or an assessment of what they actually have learned. Scholarship support, qualitative and quantitative. We've got the maths gym, and we've got our writing coaches that are fantastic. And I just know the group of people, our tutors know the group of people to send students to, and 9 out of 10, they pick up their skills if they're lacking in something, and it really it works well. The academic tutor is another support function. The capstone project supervisor in year 4, every student will be assigned a supervisor, as are undergraduates who are on campus. The staff student liaison committee. So each year of study, there are student liaisons that the students can go to voice concerns, issues. I sit in on all of those committee meetings. I'm happy to say that the concerns are generally around things like pandemic and contingency planning, et cetera. And generally speaking, the feedback has been very good. I sit with my coordinators. I've got 3 coordinators for the year that also communicate with the students. And then we have this wonderful health and wellness platform, which I think must be in a GA program. And that is designed to provide internal and external links for students that if life gets in the way, and life can get in the way, and I've seen to run the gamut of things, and we try to help students as much as we can. That's all part of that pastoral care. And then there's students who need the disabilities office, and that's those that need special accommodations for a little extra time for work or how information is delivered to them. Perfectly fine. GA students are like any other students in that regard. They need help. They should identify themselves. There's no stigma on it, and they should speak with one of our disabilities officers, be assessed, and then the instructors throughout the 4 years have those accommodations ready to go and understand them. So, in summary, we're a top 30 UK business school now, according to Complete University Guide, which I'm very, very excited about. We've got a diverse, experienced faculty who understand the GA student and that their experience is infused into their experience with industry, and international experience is infused into their courses. It's a 4-year program. 80% of the work takes place in the course, into the workplace, 20% in the classroom. Again, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Remember that triangular relationship with the individual learning agreement, the student, the mentor, and the tutor. And we've got ample GA scholarship support, disabilities, Heriot-Watt, the health and wellness support. And in sum, I can say that this is a confidence building and life-changing experience, frankly, not only for the students, not only for the mentors who often decide to go and pursue a degree on their own, but also for our faculty who are chosen because they understand how to work with students like this, and it enriches all of us. So with that, I would love to begin the Q&A session. I will hand us back to Dave And let's, Dave, take it away. Let's see where we go with this.
Thanks, David. Thanks for that great overview of the business management course here. So yes, it's really I suppose over to our guest today to ask a wee question either to yourself directly or through the chat function.
Okay, I'm just gonna. I think everybody can see me, so
So there's nothing on the chat just now.
Sometimes it takes a moment. Everything needs to be slowed down just a touch for online delivery. That's all part of the art. Everything slows down just a little bit. Oh, I see a hand up. Let's see if the okay, so maybe the person whose hands up could go ahead and speak or show yourself. That's fine. Either way.
I'll do a combination. I'll both speak and show myself.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Thank you very much for that presentation. It was really useful.
Oh.
I just wanted to understand a little bit more about the relationship between the mentor, I suppose. And I'm assuming that in most cases the mentor is also the line manager. But I'm wondering if there's any. Also, you're shaking your head. So I was just wondering, is there any use and benefit in actually having a separate mentor from line manager? Because in personal experiences from mentoring, I actually find it more useful to have a mentor that isn't also involved in your everyday work. So you would rather have them separate?
Yes, great question. Thank you very much. The blocking and tackling can often be critical, and for the line manager to be the mentor, it doesn't, I don't think I've been doing this for a couple of years. I don't think it's as effective. Look, if your organization can't find someone to be a mentor, then we need the line manager to do the work, right? But if you can, let's separate it and allow the mentor to block and tackle and open the doors and say the things that the student can't say. For example, a good example, if a student suddenly sees 5 days of work coming at them in 4, which can happen, it can happen, and it's across GA. We need someone to be able to step in and say, okay, maybe this is not right. So the answer is, if possible, let's have the mentor and the line manager separate.
And do you have any advice for us as a sort of recruiting manager or organization in terms of the skill set of the mentor and I don't know what we should be looking for?
Yeah.
Should we have someone in the team? Should we have someone in a completely different team? Do you have, I suppose I just want to make sure that we've got the right relationship there, sort of between the mentor, the mentee, and the line manager, because I think that's going to be quite a critical relationship as well.
Yep. So I think words empathetic, in the same general location, virtual or otherwise, always helps. Too far away and it becomes too distant. Goes on the journey with the student. Goes on the journey with the student, learns as much, is enthusiastic about it as the student is. But I think the key piece is empathetic, because we want to make sure that they're looking for subtle changes in the work people, in the colleagues, in the students, that kind of thing. So I've got a top 10 list that I actually deliver for the mentor student day. I don't want to give it away, but it does start with empathetic and defend the release day. Absolutely defend the release day. So it's a certain individual that wants to go on the journey with the student. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. What other questions?
I don't know if it's worth mentioning, just related to that, David, that we do
sorry, David,
skills training.
Sorry, David, there's another question coming from Suzanne. Although 1 day per week at uni, how much time should be set aside on a work day for study uni tasks? Yeah, so right. That's up to the. Right. So I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and the answer to that question is you want to set up as much as the student needs. That's why we have to choose the student carefully so that they have enough to get through this. But the release day is the key day for study. You'll find that the students typically also do some work over the weekend and perhaps in the evening. It all depends on the student. So that question is a good question. It's up to the individual student how much they need. Some courses will be easier, some harder. I couldn't give you an exact number of hours. Each student, I can tell you without a doubt, is different. So, yeah.
Cool.
You were going to say something, Dave.
Sorry, yeah, I was just going back to the mentor question previously.
Yeah.
I don't know what's, and I think we do provide mentor skills training. Is that right?
We do. At the end, I'm told at the end of within the next month or so, probably toward the end of September, Derek will be, or another one of our individual people working in the J office will be running a special mentor training outside of anything that may be run during the induction day, September 1.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, thank you very much, Susan. I'm glad that I helped you with that. Thank you, Susan. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Ask the questions. I'm good. Happy to answer. These are important decisions for your organization, and I think the GA program is something that will revolutionize higher education, frankly, and so we want you involved. Okay.
I'll give a wee sec.
Okay.
Derek, I know Derek's on the call. I don't know if you want to say anything, add anything to the mentor skills point. Just while waiting for another question to come through. Put him in the spot.
Why not?
Or not.
Hi, David. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Derek.
Just to confirm that we do have plans to run mentor skills training, provisional date of 30th September. So what we'll be doing, similar to last year where we were able to hold it on campus, we'll be changing that to an online webinar format. And that will be available for all the mentors that we have across all the cohorts. So it could be quite a big group. It's an offering rather than something that's deemed to be mandatory, and many mentors are already experienced in mentoring, so it's really just a top up for those. But the benefit of this program would be to specifically focus on the alignment between mentor skills and the GA program.
Derek and Dave, I've got a question from Becky.
Thanks,
Thank
Derek.
you, Becky. Great. Yeah, thanks, Derek, by the way. Thank you. Yeah, so Becky asked, good morning. Have you ever encountered a situation where a student had difficulty finding an appropriate work-based project? Because we pride ourselves on getting the assessments to the students and mentors about as early as we possibly can, typically speaking, we don't. If we surprise someone, then we would expect that, but we don't. So, and feel free to work with the tutor. Feel free to work with me if you do see that. Let's not let something get in the way. Let's talk it through. But no, not really. What I mean by that, there's typically enough problems, projects, and everything else to assign as it relates to the individual projects, the assessments that we have. It's again, we're hunting for problems and we're trying to solve them all over 4 years, and we get pretty close. We start getting into the, again, second and third year, we're really into matching. So no, not really. But if we do, we'll talk it through. How's that?
Okay, just as we're waiting for another question to come through, just for for our guests on the call today. Just if you have any other questions or post-event that you would like to drop us an email or get in touch. So our mailbox is ga@hw.ac.uk. So if there's any other follow-up questions you have after today's session, then please feel free to drop us a question and we'll get straight back to you. And also, if you would like, so we will be, as we mentioned earlier, the session today has been recorded, so we'll quite happily send out a link to the recording if you'd like to share that for your own records or share it within your organisations. That's not a problem. Just drop a note into that mailbox and we'll send you a link for the recording. Saying that, it'd be good to get one more question, wouldn't it?
Here we go. This is from, is it Phil Ritchie? Are you able to email a copy of the presentation?
Yeah, sure.
A PDF, sure.
Yep. Yeah, we can send either the link or the PDF, not a problem.
Yeah.
I suppose me again. Sorry, I'm doing the face-to-face stuff rather than just messages.
Not a problem.
I was just wondering, and I know you mentioned it earlier, but I suppose especially given the circumstances that we're in just now, do you feel like you will be able to support the new starts in the right? So it's very different from just normal university studies, even. In normal circumstances, but obviously given the current pandemic, I'm just wondering the balance between sort of in-work, campus studies, home studies, working from the home office type thing. Do we feel like we've got the right setup to fully support the students?
Oh, yes. The contingency planning that we have, coupled with the adjustments we made to courses, to assessments, all within Skills Development Scotland frameworks, by the way, was extensive and will continue to be as long as we're in this current situation. Example, furloughed students, you have to be very careful with furloughed students. You have to give them work-related and not necessarily work-based assignments. So we have to adjust and make sure we are doing that for everyone, because you can't have different assignments going. These little subtle things make the difference between a great GA faculty and a mediocre GA faculty. So we make adjustments, we understand, and that, by the way, that subtle difference is a difference between a verb tense. So work-based, what did you do for this project? Work-related, what would you do? It doesn't mean they can't have references. It doesn't mean they can't do some research, etc. That subtle shift keeps us within the law. It keeps us going. It keeps us moving forward. But we have done some very, what I call really fair and equitable things from 16 March onwards, when the first ministers came to speak. That was it. That was the moment. And we have done this and will continue until we all are able to roll up our sleeves, get a vaccine that actually is effective, and move on. Until then, we will continue to do this. And that includes keeping people safe. So again, a lot of the clients have said, existing clients, we're really not sending them. We say, great, that's fine. Plan on virtual, synchronous and asynchronous delivery, and it's the individual instructor that comes through no matter what. That's the key piece to this. This technology thing and this hang up with it, let's focus on the skills of the faculty. That's what makes the program. It's not the technology that makes the program. So that's the answer to that. You have some great questions. Keep firing away. I think everybody, you're the liaison. I'm used to this. Go ahead. What else is coming? Because we want you to come to this program. We want your students in our program. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Dave, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think we can.
Everyone's free to send further follow-ups to Dave. You get the recording, you get the PDF, and look, we're looking forward to you bringing your students to our programs. So let's do that. Looking forward to it.
Great stuff. Yeah, okay. So I think if nobody's got any other questions, we can go happily. We'll close it there. David J, happy with that?
I'm good. I'm very good.
Great
So
stuff.
thanks, everyone. Pleasure meeting with you. I hope to one day meet and shake your hand, which could be quite novel, actually, these days. Thank you very much.
A bit of an elbow bump. Okay.
An elbow bump, yeah.
Yeah. So listen, yes, thanks, David. Thanks for that great presentation today. And thanks all for attending today. I hope you found that very useful. And as I say, we'll send out the information post-event. And if you have any other questions, please email us and we'll get back in touch. Thanks very much.